Hi guys, Darren at ProtoPilot here, and in today's lesson we're going to look at ProtoPie Connect. So I posted a video a little while ago showing you how to connect two prototypes together, and I had this fake TV app. So I'm actually going to dig into how I created that today. Okay, so this is something that you probably would have seen on Disney Plus or on some sort of TV kind of streaming experiences, where you're using your mobile app to kind of log into the TV app, okay? And ProtoPie has just recently released the ability to scan QR codes. And also, if you've got a pro account for ProtoPie, you will have access to using ProtoPie Connect as well. So ProtoPie Connect is a separate app that we're going to download. I'm going to show you, where to get that and how to kind of set it all up and all that good stuff. So before we get started, let's have a quick review of the video I posted so you can see what we're going to be building. Okay, so first things first, let's get you all set up with ProtoPie Connect. So like I mentioned previously, you need to have a ProtoPie Pro account to use ProtoPie Connect. And ProtoPie Connect comes in a couple of different flavors, but certainly for the Pro account, it's good enough for us to kind of test things. If you want to go full hog, then you need to get an enterprise account. But certainly from a learning perspective, we can just kind of make do with the Pro account for now, okay? So I'm over here on ProtoPie's website. So if you go to protopie.io/download, and you'll come to this page with all of the apps that ProtoPie give us. So we've got ProtoPie Studio here, which is obviously what we're using. So if you just scroll down, sort of halfway down this page, you'll get to the Prototype the Future with ProtoPie Connect. And you can see here, there's a download button here, and you can choose obviously Mac OS, Windows, and there's even a Linux version, but obviously that's, as you can see, for enterprise use only. Okay, so I've already downloaded the app. It's just a standard app, kind of sits in the background. So if I kind of just hide this window, you'll see I've got ProtoPie Connect running here. So it's kind of sitting in my dock. And it's kind of like a server solution. It's just sitting in the background, and its only job is to manage the flow of information, and it's connecting all of your separate prototypes together. Okay, so we'll come back to how to use this once we build our two prototypes. But if you just go and download this, get it installed, and then pause the video, and then when you're ready to come back, then we'll carry on. Okay, before we get started building things, I just want to go through a little bit of theory on how ProtoPie Connect works and how we're going to be using it in our two prototypes, okay? So I've got a little fig jam here, just diagramming out how it all kind of works. So let's kind of go through that. So we've got our mobile prototype, so that's the blue rectangle. And what we're going to be doing, so we're going to be sending a message from our mobile prototype to Connect. Connect's going to receive that message, and it's going to send it on to our TV prototype. And our TV prototype is going to receive that message. Okay, once it's received that message, it's actually going to do what it needs to do. So it's going to do the fake login. Then once it's done that, it's going to send a message, because we want to send the message back to the mobile prototype to say that we're all successfully logged in. So it's going to send a message. That's going to be sent back to ProtoPie Connect. ProtoPie Connect again is then going to pass that message back to our mobile prototype, which is going to receive it. Okay, so there's kind of a round trip here, a 360 kind of round trip journey for our message. So coming from the mobile prototype to Connect to the TV, TV goes back into Connect and back to our mobile prototype. Okay, so that's going to be how it works effectively. We're going to be able to see those messages being broadcast actually inside ProtoPie Connect itself as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into building the actual prototype. Okay, so we're going to start first off with the mobile prototype. So you can download this starter file. I've already built a couple of extra screens as well. So as you would have seen in the kind of preview of this whole feature that I posted a little while ago, there's a few extra screens. So I've kind of got a fake login screen, and I've got a nice little animation to kind of explain that we're going to be connecting the TV prototype and the mobile prototype together. But I'm really going to focus on the actual build part. So this is actually going to be starting in the QR scanner scene. Okay, so we're going to start here. I've already laid down a camera layer, so you can get camera layers from the media panel here. So there's the camera layer. So I've already just dropped one of those down. If you've used the camera layer before, then that basically gives you the control over the front facing and the rear facing camera on the device that's connected. You obviously need to connect a real device. You can't run this from preview inside of ProtoPie Studio. So, and we'll be using some real devices in this particular tutorial. Okay, so I've got my camera layer set down. Let's just have a look over in the settings. So I've set the camera to auto start. So I've checked the auto start box, and I'm using the rear facing camera. So I've made sure I've got my rear facing camera selected. And you'll see down here, this is where the QR code scanner functionality has been added. So I've checked the QR code scanner checkbox. So we want to make sure that's checked. And then when I check it, you'll see there's two options under the menu. There's open URL immediately and keep tracking. So for the open URL immediately, that's if you want to just open a website directly immediately, so it can open real websites. We're obviously going to be using the tracking option here, so we want to make sure that's selected. Okay, so that's all we need to do in the layer part. Everything else we need to do is going to be created in the triggers and responses. So let's get to that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. So the way we interface with the QR code is there's a special predefined variable that we can leverage. So we're gonna use that, and we're gonna use our own variable to save the value into it. So let's come down to the variables panel. Just gonna use a for this scene variable, and I'm gonna make it a text variable because I'm actually gonna be sending a text value. And I'm gonna call this QR code. Nice and easy. Okay. And I'm going to next add a start trigger. And basically what I need to do is when the camera starts, I need to kind of tell it to keep looking for the QR code. Okay, so it's kind of a slightly unusual implementation, but this is kind of how it works. So within the start trigger, I'm going to add an assign response. So I'm going to assign the value, the QR code value, to our variable we've just created. So I'm just going to select that variable, QR code. And I'm going to come into the formulas panel, and I'm going to look for a predefined variable. So I'm going to type the $, and I'm going to look for the variable QR value. There it is, QR value. So it's a predefined variable. So I'm just going to write that in there, click OK. And I need to keep telling ProtoPie to keep sending it, okay? Because when the camera's running, the QR code is not necessarily going to be there in screen straight away. So as you're moving the camera around, you want to make sure that it captures it. So we need to kind of tell it to keep doing it. So we're going to check repeat, and we're just going to set the interval to 0. So we want it to repeat without any gaps between the repeats, and I'm going to select infinite repeat. Okay, so this is basically going to tell the camera and the QR code to keep looking. Okay, so obviously you need a QR code, and I created a QR code. There's various websites around where you can kind of create a free QR code. So I just went to, let's kind of just open up the browser here. There's this QR code generator, qr-code-generator.com. So you can basically just type whatever you want in here, and then you can hit the download JPEG button. So I just created I just put a text word to basically activate inside of my QR code. And that's what I'm using. That's what's going to be transferred to the variable. It doesn't really matter for the sake of this prototype what the word is, because we're just using triggers and responses to recognize that a value got passed. And that's going to basically be the trigger that's going to allow us to kind of do the whole thing. Okay. So feel free to go there and kind of create your QR code. I have obviously already created the QR code for you inside the prototype, so you can just kind of use that once, no biggie. Okay, so that's the first part done of actually recognizing the QR code. In the next part of the video, we're going to deal with how to detect that QR code and start sending out messages through ProtoPie Connect.